Our next featured speaker needs no introduction. Dolores Huerta is the daughter of immigrant parents from Mexico. She, she is firmly established as an icon of the Latino civil rights movement. Plus, the labor movement is the co-founder of the National Farm Workers Association with another incredible man, Cesar Chavez. She is the founder and president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation, which creates leadership opportunities for community organizing, leadership development, civic engagement, and policy and advocacy. Immigrants' rights, workers' rights, women's rights, Dolores Huerta always gets it right. Dolores received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in May 2012, one of the highest civilian honors in the nation. Upon bestowing her with the award, President Obama said, "She has fought to give more people a seat at the table." So now I ask you to please stand up as you help me welcome the one and only Dolores Huerta.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. I'm quite honored to be invited to be here with all of you this evening and to be able to address you. And I just want to congratulate this incredible organization for what you're doing. We know, even though I live in Bakersfield, California, in the Central Valley, you know, I think that the mission is very dear to me also. I was raised in Stockton, California. And so, any Stocktonians here? Yeah. Anyway, and so, you know, as a youngster, and as a teenager, we would come to San Francisco often, and of course, we always came to the mission. And you know, it's a really, really special place, and it's a historic place. When we think, you know, how far back it goes in terms of its origins, and I think it does need to be preserved, and the people that live there need to be able to stay there without having to be gentrified out. Definitely. So. You know, I was born in the state of New Mexico, and often when I'm in New Mexico, I go to Santa Fe. And Santa Fe, New Mexico is so beautiful. You've got all of the architecture, you know, the Spanish, Arabic. I say Arabic because it really comes from the Arabs anyway, okay? And all of that beautiful architecture and the Native American culture, the Mexican culture, except guess what? There's no Native Americans and no Mexicans, okay? It's all been so gentrified that, of course, they can't afford to live there. And, of course, that is what we do not want to happen to the mission. We want the people that are from the mission to be able to stay in the mission. So I thank all of you for working to make that possible. And I know a few years back, I'm looking at Roberto over here, and you know, knowing how, you know, we were trying to pass some initiatives that were voted down, but to see that you are doing this great community effort to provide affordable housing. And I think it's a sin in our United States of America, the richest country in the world, that people could not afford to rent or even buy in these, that we have the, you know, the largest homeless population ever in our country. Who would think that we would ever see this, okay? But I'm not gonna dwell on that because I know you're working on that, but I just wanted to just kind of focus on a couple of other issues because of these terrible times that we're in right now. And who would have thought that we would ever get here to these times? You know, where we have people that are being killed because they're Mexicans, or because they're Jewish, or because they're Muslims, or because they're African Americans, you know. Who would ever think that we would come to this point? And so I really do want to say, I want to just really ask everybody here, please, let's all start doing something about racism, okay? Please, everybody. I was in Austin, Texas with Andrew Young, Dr. Martin Luther King's right hand, and they had a 3-day conference on racism. Just the word, racism, a 3-day conference. And I would hope that we can do that in every single institution, be it public or private. And thank you, and one of the ways that we can really get rid of racism, one really simple scientific way, is just to remind people that we are one human race. We have a lot of different ethnic groups, we have a lot of different cultures, we have a lot of different nationalities, but we have one human race. And our human race came from Africa. Our human race came from Africa. So if we can remind people that we are all Africans of different shades and colors, okay? Yes, we are all Africans of different shades and colors, and so that we can say to the KKK, to the white nationalists, to the neo-Nazis, get over it, you're Africans, okay? Just get over it. Ya basta. Ya basta. It's time to stop all of the nonsense. And then try to get into our school books, starting from kindergarten, from pre-K. Let's teach them that we are all one human race. And then let's also teach them the Howard Zinn history of the United States of America. Who built the White House and the Congress? African slaves. Who were the first slaves? Native Americans, whose land we have never, paid for, compensated for, apologized, and often not even recognized. And all of the immigrants that came in from Mexico, the people that came in from India and China and Japan, the Philippines, the people that built the infrastructure of the United States of America, we've got to start teaching that so that our children of color will have the dignity that they deserve, and our Anglo children can get rid of that poison of white supremacy and white slavery. We should not be a country that grows neo-Nazis, We should not be a country. And I love to say to people, it's really good to look at a map of the United States before 1847. Before it became the United States, because when you look at a map of the United States before 1847, it's shocking, because you look, oh my gosh, a third of the United States was Mexico. Yeah? Talk about the Ukraine, hey, how about Mexico, okay? And I think it's important, and especially now because as Latinos, we are being attacked in so many ways, and this is all purposeful. And I believe that one of the reasons that Trump has been doing this in the administration, because we have something very important that's happening in 2020. It's called the census. And I just have to tell you that there is the Latino community, especially immigrants, both legal and undocumented, they are not afraid for the census. They are terrified. They are terrified to participate in the census. There will be no citizenship question on the census because we, with Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, we sued Trump and we won. There will be no citizenship question on the census. And but that doesn't mean that people are going to participate. So again, I want to beg all of you to please go out there into the communities. We're going to have to do a lot of preparation. So we think, oh, well, it's not till 2020. I don't have to worry about it. But we have to work starting right now to go into our communities and just beg people and just beg them and educate them of why it's important. Because, and this is what we have to tell them. For each one of us that does not get counted, each one of us that does not get counted, our community will lose tens of thousands of dollars. Each person, $2,000 for each one of us. $2,000 for each one of us. Over 10 years, $20,000. $20,000 for each one of us that does not get counted. And the money that we pay as taxpayers won't come to California. It'll go to Arkansas, or who knows, somewhere else, okay? So we got to bring that money back to the city to continue to do the work that you're trying to do in terms of, providing affordable housing. And the other thing we have to say to people, the census is confidential. It cannot be shared with immigration, with ICE, with anybody. And anybody that divulges anything on the census guess what? They can go to prison for 5 years. They can pay a $250,000 fine. So I don't think people are going to risk that. So we just have to go out there and do that work and educate them and tell them, do it for your children, because that money that comes in from the census, it will go for education, which we need, it'll go for housing, and it'll go for health care. So we have to just get that message out there and just saturate our communities, just go out there and just tell them, please, 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 you've got to get counted, okay? So we have a lot of work to do. One more thing I want to say. We talk about the refugees at the border. I'm going to say the word bananas. How many bananas do we eat every day? Do the people in Guatemala get the money that we spend on bananas? No? Who does it go to? Chiquita Banana, Dole Banana, the American banana companies, American corporations. The money does not go to the people that produce those bananas. So we as Latinos, from now on we have to do more than vote. We have to get really involved in foreign policies. We have to go up there to our representatives, and we've got to say to them, these are our neighbors. These are our neighbors to the south. We need to help them develop their economy instead of exploiting their economy as we have done in the past. We've got to go back to El Salvador and to Honduras and to those countries and repair the damage that we did during the Civil War. San Francisco, this is where we had the greatest number of refugees that came here during those civil wars in Central America. So I don't think we have back memories, right? We have to have long memories, and we've got to start pressuring. After this next election, hopefully we'll all get it all together. I know we've got the House right now, representatives. Hopefully we'll get the Senate next time. And the other big job, the presidency, okay? But then I think we have to say, we have to influence, and we have to use our voices, not only to fight for the mission, but also to fight for all of the people that come south of the border from the United States of America. I think that we can do that, because I think as Latinos, we will have the electoral power. I just want to say, in the state of Virginia is having elections this year, because they have off years for the state elections. Just to show you how powerful our vote is. In the state of Virginia, only about 8 or 9% of the population are Latinos. In the last 2 elections that they've had for the governor, guess who elected the governor? The Latino vote. The Latino vote. So they talk about the blue wave. I got news for them. We have a brown tsunami that's coming on the way. But we know we've got to do the work to make that happen. And I know, of course, I'm preaching to the choir here. But even here, I think there's more that we can do. I just spoke to a group of young people today, and I asked them, how many of you know who your local representative is to the state legislature? A handful raised their hands. How many of you know who your U.S. senator is? A handful raise their hands, okay? So we have to do a lot more work on civic education, okay? On ethnic education, on LGBTQ education, and on reproductive rights and women's rights, okay? So we have a lot of work to do, but I know here in the Bay Area, you all have the energy to do it. So anyway, again, I want to thank you for having me come and speak to you, and just get us all ready to do all of the work that we need to do in the future. So before I step down, I'm just going to ask you all a question, and it's a question I know you will know the answer. It's a very simple one. I'm going to ask you, who's got the power? And I want you to say, we've got the power. And when I say, what kind of power? You're going to say, Latino power. Shall we do it? Okay. So let's do it loud enough so the misogynists can hear us, okay? The sexual harassers, the homophobes, okay? The climate deniers, all right? The racists, so they can hear us. Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Are we going to go out there and organize and do this really, really hard work that we need to do? What do we say? ¿Se puede o no se puede? Sí, se puede. Okay, let's all do it with an organized hand clap. Let's go. Sí, se puede. Muchas gracias. Thank Yeah, thank you.
Wow, what inspiring words. Can you believe that I'm sharing the stage with Dolores Huerta? I don't. Dolores Huerta has lent her strength to countless social and economic justice fights. She's a true community hero in the past, present, and moving forward. As we leverage her achievement to re-energize in a Latino civil rights movement, it's about building equity through Latino wealth, place, and power. For always keeping the big picture in clear focus, MEDA is honored to present the Community Legacy Award to Dolores Huerta.